Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This week opens with Kody Brown offering Janelle what he claims is an apology, and honestly, the red flags are already waving. If you're anything like me, you're probably asking the same question: is he really trying to pull something over on her again? And worse, is Janelle in a place where she might actually fall for it? Let me be clear, they are not back together. Not even close. But judging by how she reacted, it's honestly concerning. Because what he said wasn't a real apology, it was a performance. He didn't say, "I'm sorry I hurt you," or acknowledge how his actions impacted her. Instead, he went with, "I'm sorry I was angry." No one deserved that. That's not accountability. That's just apologizing for losing his temper, not for the damage he caused. A genuine apology sounds more like, "I see how my words hurt you. I understand why that was wrong. Here's what I'm going to do to change." And, no surprise, we're nowhere near that level of self-awareness here. He's offering the bare minimum, and honestly, it drives me crazy. But what's even more frustrating is how Janelle responds. She seems touched by it. And maybe that's not surprising. Maybe that's exactly why he started with her. Before we get to Robyn's meltdown, because yes, the producers asked her what she'd do if any of the other wives wanted to return, and she absolutely spiraled, let's stay focused on Janelle for a moment. When Kody apologized, she said, "Wow, thanks." And then she added that she didn't even recognize the person sitting in front of her. She said, "I don't know who this guy is. This isn't the man I was married to all those years." Meaning, the version of him she's seeing now feels like a stranger. And yet, even with that disconnect, she still seems moved by his weak, vague apology. And this is what breaks my heart. These women have been starved of basic emotional decency for so long that even a tiny breadcrumb feels like a full-course meal. Just hearing him say, "I apologize for being angry," makes her react as if he's suddenly transformed into a completely different, better man. I know more apologies are coming this season, and yes, some will probably sound prettier or more polished. But the real problem is that this flimsy, surface-level line is already softening her. That is the real danger. Not all the wives are going to respond this way. Christine has boundaries now. Mary has moved on. But Janelle? She's always been the most susceptible to his manipulation. She has a long history of walking away, only to let him back in later. Her expectations are so low that all he has to do is show up, string together a few kind-sounding sentences, smile a little, and suddenly she's second-guessing everything. Even her daughter warned her, "Are you sure he's not just trying to pull you back in?" And I'm not saying that's definitely what he's doing, but the fact that Janelle's first reaction is gratitude instead of caution is honestly sad. In her confessional, she sounds more guarded, saying things like, "I still don't really know who he is." But that's classic Janelle. She'll open up in the interviews, but rarely directly to Kody. And if she does confront him, she often shrinks back afterward, almost embarrassed for expressing her feelings. And this isn't new. Remember the Salsa Bravo dinner? He tried apologizing then too, hoping to spark a reconciliation. She shut it down because she could tell he just wanted to get back together. Then last year at that Coyote Pass meeting, he pulled the same move again. So what's different now? As we watch this unfold, one thing becomes clear: Janelle keeps insisting she doesn't recognize this new Kody. That the man across from her feels like a stranger wearing her husband's face. And yet, within minutes, she reacts to him as if he suddenly had some massive emotional breakthrough. The disconnect is unreal. These women have been deprived for so long that even the weakest attempt at kindness feels monumental. Just hearing him say, "I'm sorry I was angry," is enough to shake her emotionally. And yes, Kody will probably say more as the season progresses, maybe even something deeper. But the fact that this bare minimum apology already softens her is exactly why I'm worried. Christine isn't falling for it. Mary isn't falling for it. But Janelle? She has always been the easiest for him to sway. She leaves when things get unbearable, but she's also the one who comes back when the dust settles. It's a painful pattern I've lost count of. Her bar isn't just low, it's practically underground. Janelle's standards have been pushed so far underground that even the smallest gesture feels monumental to her. And that's exactly why her daughter stepped in with that warning, asking whether Janelle was absolutely sure Kody wasn't just trying to charm his way back into her life. It wasn't an accusation, it was concern. Genuine, protective concern. Now, I'm not saying Janelle will take him back. She's finally building her own life, and that matters. But watching her first reaction be gratitude instead of caution, it's just heartbreaking. And here's something about Janelle that we've seen for years: she saves her honesty for the confessional chair. When Kody isn't around, she'll say all the thoughtful, cautious things: I still don't know him, or I'm confused, or I'm not sure what to think. But once he's in the room, those words disappear. She goes quiet. She goes soft. She retreats into herself like she's afraid she's breaking a rule by simply asking for better treatment. It's not healthy. And it's definitely not new. How many times has he cycled through these half-apologies? Think back to the Salsa Bravo dinner. He tried smoothing things over there too, and she could immediately tell he wasn't apologizing because he'd changed, he just wanted access again. Same thing during that Coyote Pass meeting last year. Yet here we are, listening to another sorry, and I have to wonder, what makes this one different? What has fundamentally shifted, in him or in her, that would make the outcome any different this time? So far, I'm not seeing it. But let's keep going. Then Janelle drops a line that actually made me pause the footage. She says she's mourning the loss of the family ideal. And I had to stop because, what ideal is she talking about? She claims they all shared this beautiful vision of raising their kids in one big communal family, and she comforts herself by saying the kids are still siblings, so the dream wasn't a total failure. But, does she not remember what we watched unfold over 15 seasons? The emotional warfare. The resentment. The slow collapse that started long before any divorces were finalized? When the family was crumbling, Janelle was furious at Kody for abandoning his responsibilities. She knew he was the one who destroyed the ideal she now claims to be nostalgic about. So hearing her rewrite that history feels confusing, almost disorienting. And then there's the sibling thing. She says, the kids are still siblings. But, whose kids is she talking about? Robyn's 5 children? They have zero relationship with Janelle's kids. Christine's and Janelle's biological children interact, sure, but even those bonds are complicated. Polygamy creates a structure where half-siblings often function more like cousins than traditional brothers and sisters. They're family, but there's distance. They don't grow up in the same house, don't share daily routines, don't form those deep, intimate bonds that full-time siblings do. Television painted the family as one big tribe. But the real picture? It's far more fragmented. And I say this because I've seen it firsthand. My own husband has 6 half-siblings from his father's multiple marriages. The ones he lived with? Deep, layered bonds. The ones he only saw on weekends or holidays? Still family, but it's a different kind of connection. There's a gap you can't ignore. So when Janelle praises the sibling bond as evidence the dream worked, I'm not sure she's seeing the full reality. It feels like she's grading on the polygamy curve, where even minimal contact counts as success. And then, right after Kody's weak apology, Janelle suddenly pivots the whole narrative. It's like watching a compass needle spin until it finds north. She starts reframing everything, even the history, in this almost utopian light. It makes me wonder, was she the one wife who truly believed the sales pitch? The dream they were sold was this: women working together. Children raised communally. Everyone sacrificing for the greater good. It's a comforting fantasy. And Janelle bought into it. She says it directly, she was so focused on holding the family unit together that she neglected her actual marriage. I think maybe I lost track of our relationship, she admits, and it might have been detrimental really. She says, I probably should have focused more on our relationship and not so much on the family. And this is where my heart genuinely breaks for her. Because Kody's empty apology isn't just deflecting responsibility, it's making her internalize the blame. She's sitting there thinking, maybe if I had tried harder, we wouldn't be here. And that narrative? It's infuriating. Because we all know the truth. If Janelle had ever gone to Kody and said, I need you to prioritize us, he would have brushed her off in a heartbeat. When she needed a house? He didn't care. When she wanted to build on Coyote Pass? He stalled. When her kids needed safety during the pandemic? He tried to push them out. He verbally tore them down. Neglected them. Treated them like afterthoughts. Kody never nurtured the family unit, not in any way that required sacrifice from him. He loved the idea of the family, the brand of it. But the actual work? Being present? Showing up? He was nowhere to be found. And that's why her self-blame is so painful to watch. She's sitting there wondering if maybe she lost track of the marriage, when the reality is, even if she had begged him to show up, he wouldn't have. We've seen the receipts. All of us. When she struggled with housing, his concern was non-existent. When she needed him to co-sign plans for the land, he shut her down. When her sons needed him the most, he rejected them. So watching Janelle now reflect inward and blame herself, it's like watching someone rewrite a story we all saw play out in real time. And remember that counseling session with Christine? She was pleading for connection, for some sign of life in their relationship, and he still made it all about the family, not her, not them, not the marriage. For him, the collective image mattered more than the individual relationships that were crumbling. Here's what's really happening. Women who survive polygamy often cope by convincing themselves that having a part-time husband is acceptable, as long as they get this big, beautiful, communal family in return. It's the emotional bargain the system sells women on. Sacrifice your needs for the greater good. And Janelle bought into that dream wholeheartedly. She still does, in many ways. She is the one ex-wife who consistently refuses to acknowledge how much she actually went without. The evidence is everywhere, yet she continues to downplay it. That's not weakness, it's survival. But it's also heartbreakingly common in long-term abusive or manipulative dynamics. And Kody? He is the exact type of narcissistic partner who knows how to reel someone back in. He knows which emotional strings to pull. He knows which parts of her identity to prey on. So watching her soften because he managed to string together 3 lukewarm sentences that vaguely resemble an apology, it makes me nervous. Because if that apology shifts her perception enough that she starts doubting her decision to leave, then he's already winning. She's the same woman who admitted she was so focused on the family dream that she lost sight of her own marriage. And now Kody is using that confession like a weapon. She needs to hold the line. She needs to remember why she walked away. And speaking of holding lines, let's talk about Robyn. The producers hit her with a bomb. How would you feel if one of Kody's former wives wanted to rejoin the family? Her face freezes. She stumbles. Wait, are you really asking me that? Instant panic. Instant defensiveness. It's not the words, it's the wall that goes up behind her eyes. She doesn't even want to entertain the hypothetical. She starts backtracking, saying the question alone is messing with her head. And honestly? We all know why Kody approached Janelle first. Of all his ex-wives, she's the one most likely to give him the benefit of the doubt. Mary tolerated him for years, but she's done now, she'd laugh in his face. Christine? She's moved on, found joy, found freedom. But Janelle? Janelle has left before, yet she's also come back more times than anyone. She's always been the easiest one for him to pull back in. So when the producers ask Robyn about the possibility of a reconciliation, and the editors cut to Kody and Janelle exchanging soft, emotional glances, that's classic reality TV. They want the tension. They want you to think something is brewing. Let's be real, Janelle is literally building a house in North Carolina. She is not moving back into the old family dynamic. Janelle returning to the family just isn't happening. But Robyn's reaction to the idea of it is incredibly revealing. She gives this nervous little laugh, the kind that's way too high-pitched to be genuine. She shakes her head over and over, and you can see the irritation flash across her face. I can promise you this, once she watches this episode back, she's going to try to soften her reaction in future interviews because, right now, it is obvious she wants nothing to do with this conversation. She doesn't want anyone coming back. And honestly, why would she? Janelle's return brings her nothing but complications. Sure, maybe more money flowing into the family pot, which she and Kody control, but emotionally? Logistically? Absolutely no benefit. She and Janelle were never close. And Kody and Janelle's relationship will never resemble what Kody has with Robyn. Kody essentially wants Janelle to transform into another version of Robyn, and that dynamic is destined to fail. It always has been. Still, the drama is impossible to ignore. Robyn makes it painfully clear she doesn't want any of the ex-wives returning. She looks physically uncomfortable. Then she drops that line, "I need to stop talking about this or I'm going to walk off set." And her body language is screaming louder than her words. She's covering her mouth, touching her nose, messing with her hair. Robyn does this every time she's being dishonest or trying to hide a real emotion. It's almost like her face betrays her before her words do. She gets fidgety, self-soothing, all the classic tells. She's not struggling with hope. She's struggling with the fear of losing control. Then she delivers the big quote, "Hope is dangerous sometimes." Hope is dangerous. That is not the voice of a woman wishing for reconciliation. That is someone who views hope as a direct threat to her stability. And McKelty recently pointed out something important. Robyn and Kody live in a constant state of fear, a twisted version of reality where everything feels fragile. If hope feels dangerous to you, it's because you're terrified of what you might lose. And let's be honest here, Robyn does not want Janelle, Christine, or Mary back in that family. If she truly cared about Janelle's return, why did she walk right past her at Coyote Pass without even acknowledging her? She's had literal years to rebuild relationships, to show sister-wife solidarity, to extend an olive branch. But she hasn't. She's allowed every relationship outside of Kody to collapse. So this dramatic act, claiming the idea is too painful to even consider, is just that, an act. She can't even force a single tear. Because in reality, she doesn't want to share resources. She doesn't want to share Kody. She doesn't want to deal with complicated dynamics or accountability. She doesn't want reminders of her own part in how everything fell apart. Instead of admitting the truth, "No, I don't want them back and I wouldn't support it," she shuts down the conversation entirely. She threatens to walk off set because honesty would break the image she's worked so hard to maintain, the devoted, selfless sister-wife. But we all see it. She's relieved the others are gone. She's content having Kody to herself. She doesn't like any of them, and she never has. So there you have it, Kody testing the waters with Janelle, and Robyn spiraling the moment the word reconciliation even enters the room, despite the fact that none of this is going to happen anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I interpreting this wrong? If you enjoyed the breakdown, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and don't forget to tap the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, you guys. Back. And honestly, why would she? Janelle's return brings her nothing but complications. Sure, maybe more money flowing into the family pot, which she and Kody control, but emotionally? Logistically? Absolutely no benefit. She and Janelle were never close. And Kody and Janelle's relationship will never resemble what Kody has with Robyn. Kody essentially wants Janelle to transform into another version of Robyn, and that dynamic is destined to fail. It always has been. Still, the drama is impossible to ignore. Robyn makes it painfully clear she doesn't want any of the ex-wives returning. She looks physically uncomfortable. Then she drops that line, "I need to stop talking about this or I'm going to walk off set." And her body language is screaming louder than her words. She's covering her mouth, touching her nose, messing with her hair. Robyn does this every time she's being dishonest or trying to hide a real emotion. It's almost like her face betrays her before her words do. She gets fidgety, self-soothing.